Welcome back. You are listening to the Mari Mokwanda Show on Islam Media, and it is time for our hit list. Joining me on the line today is Major Mandisa Mfeka, who is the first Black female fighter pilot in South Africa. Okay, well, she will be joining me shortly, but yeah, she is the hit list for today. If you have any questions or comments for her, you can leave them in the comment section below, or you can send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 061 She's going to be talking about her journey, when it began, and how did she reach where she is today. And let's see if, oh, there she is. Hi, Mandisa. Mandisa, hello, can you hear me? How about now? Unmute. You need to unmute your mic. Is it fine now, Mandisa?
Hi. Okay, I think the whole household will be able to hear you because my headphones are not working with us today, unfortunately. Hi, Miriam. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And yourself? Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So tell us, when did your journey begin and how did it all begin?
Wow. Okay. So when I was a kid, my mother used to take myself, my grandmother, and a couple of cousins down to Virginia Airport, and we would watch the airplanes fly at the air show. And I think for me, that's when the journey began. That was my first exposure into aviation, but I didn't realize at that time that it was a career that was even viable, or one that I could go into. I didn't know that I could become a pilot until I was 16 years old, when I first discovered the South African Air Force. And since then, upon discovering the advert by the Air Force looking for pilots and navigators, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. So we can say that the journey began at the age of 5, and it was realized when I was 16. And then obviously after I finished matric and joined the Air Force and finally qualified, then it came true. So
Wow, congratulations. Now, is it more difficult being a Black female pilot in a white male dominated industry?
I don't know if it's more difficult. I think you have to call upon parts of yourself that you didn't realize were there, that were either laying dormant because experience of life hadn't needed you to bring those parts of yourself. Maybe as a male person, those attributes come more naturally or are called to the surface more often because of their life experience. As a female person, it meant that I would have to adjust to the way that I maybe approach the physique nature of things. I also had to do a little bit more research in order to understand the industry that I was going into. Whereas somebody who grew up in a culture like that, they may be exposed to it more when they were growing up. Whereas for me, it needed a little bit more work on my side. So it did need to call upon parts of myself that I didn't know were there. So yeah. I guess in that way, you can say it's a bit more challenging, but it's really just a placement of environments.
Speaking about challenges, what are some of the other challenges that you experienced on your journey?
Wow. Besides the physical challenges, obviously there's emotional and mental challenges that one has face as well. You're away from family, you're away from an environment and a culture that you're used to. So that did need a lot of adjusting on my side, a little bit more self-reliance, and then also being open to learning from those who are around you. It's a new culture, it's a new experience. You have to adapt. So yeah, I had to learn those things. The emotional aspects is obviously not giving up when things got very tough, not giving up when things got very hard, not giving up when you're injured. And then also if you had a confrontation with someone because you didn't agree on the way that the exercise was carried out, or you don't agree with the way that they would teach you a certain skill or a value point, needed a little bit grit emotionally. So there is not just the mental challenges. I mean, it's a very technical field, yes, but also the physical attributes that one has to cultivate, and then the emotional resilience in order to pass through the physical elements of the training is some of the challenges that one would have to face, or live up to.
Mm-hmm. So you made history during the president's inauguration, and that's when you became the first Black female fighter pilot. So tell us how that all was, and how did you feel when you realized that, hey, I'm making history?
Well, I didn't realize it until I landed back and I got phone calls that my name had been announced in the stadium. Really, I was quite surprised. I was thinking to myself, I mean, because a lot of parts of like my training, like the first time I went solo on the Hawk, I made history, but nobody was there, for instance. The first time I flew formation in the Hawk solo, I was making history. So there are a lot of elements where one was making history, but it was just something that I was quiet to myself. But when they announced it like that, I was like, oh, wow, okay. No, I didn't expect it to happen like that. I was really blown over, but more than anything, I was humbled. There are many amazing moments, but to be part of that, I was really quite grateful, and I felt really honored to be seen and recognized in that way. I still am feeling very honored and very humbled. My journey still continues, but no, I'm just really grateful.
Okay, so I'm sure there are people at home wondering, okay, how do you become a fighter pilot? So tell us what are the requirements, what needs to be done in order for somebody to become a fighter pilot?
Okay. First and foremost, if this person who is looking to become a fighter pilot is within high school, they would have to take pure maths and science. That is, for me, the biggest thing that I'd like to draw home for them, is that they need to make sure that their maths and science marks are as best as they can. Obviously, for us in order to enter, you need to have level 3 maths and level 4, level 4 maths and science, and as well as English. Will make it easier for them to be able to cope with this industry. Then further than that, once they've got their matric results, or they've gotten to grade 12, then they have to apply to the South African Air Force with the goal or perspective in order to become a pilot. So you need to get yourself into the mustering of pilot, and then once you join the South African Air Force, then they're the ones who train you. And once you complete the training, which takes about 4 years, then you qualify and you get your wings, and then you're a military pilot. When you qualify, depending on how well you perform during your pilot's wings course, then you get to choose one of the 3 streams that we have within the Air Force. It's either to become a combat pilot, which is your fighter pilot stream, helicopter pilots, or transport pilots. If you make the marks and the requirements of the South African Air Force, then you will stream towards combat. And then once you do that, then you do your conversion course. And then once you've completed your conversion course, then we do an operational training course, and then you can be deemed as a fighter pilot. So it's that is the journey. It would take one about 8 years to get the qualification of fighter pilot, but it takes 4 years to qualify as a military pilot, first and foremost, in the South African Air Force.
Wow, 8 years does seem like a long time. Then you think to yourself, okay, doctor, fighter pilot, which one should I go with? So
yeah, exactly, and both are specialist streams. So if you want to become a doctor, you have to learn as much as possible, train yourself up, get in, let it be your bread and butter. The same thing with becoming a fighter pilot. It has to be your life. It has to be something that you do. You eat, sleep, and breathe flying as far as possible.
So now, do we really have to, or do you really go to wars and stuff and defend the country and drop bombs and stuff?
we drop bombs and we fire weapons. That's basically part of our training. However, South Africa is still in peace, is a peaceful nation. So we're not at war with anyone. We're not out there fighting with anyone because the requirement isn't there. Unless somebody infringes on the integrity or the sovereignty of the country, then we are here on sort of like a standby basis. First and foremost, 2 Squadron, which is our Gripen or our Big Brother Squadron, would be the first ones who are called up to duty if there is an infringement on the sovereignty of the state. So no, I have not been to war.
Would you be willing to go to war?
Yes, this is why I'm training. It's like a firefighter, you know. I think the firefighters have to stay agile because if there is an emergency and there's a massive fire that needs them, they need to be there, ready and trained. The same thing with the fighter pilot. If something goes wrong, or where South Africa needs to engage an enemy force, then we need to take up arms and we need to go and carry out the job as we said we would.
Well, it sounds scary enough, but hey, somebody's got to do it. Mandisa, do stay with us. Break and we'll be right back.
No problem.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
There are over 200 million orphans globally. We can't help all of them, but what if we each helped just one? The Al Imdad Foundation now gives you an opportunity to help just one orphan from Syria or Palestine. For just 500 Rand per month, you can help safeguard the dignity of an orphan by assisting them with basic needs such as food, clothing, shelter, medical care, and attention. Our orphan sponsorship program allows you to track the progress of your orphan through regular feedback. Make a difference in the life of an orphan today. Visit alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Dad, well, I've been chatting with an investment broker today and...
Broker? Did the broker tell you that our economy is a mess? There's bushfires in Australia, America wanted World War III, and now the coronavirus is traveling around the world.
Well, I also thought about purchasing some crypto.
Crypto? What's that, like another pyramid scheme? I don't trust what I can't see.
There's an apartment in Belito.
So all your family will be asking to stay there for free. And what if the government takes it away, eh?
Dad, I don't think it works like that.
I'll tell you what works. Gold. At your age, I invested in gold coins and it paid for your university fees and your wedding. No contracts, no agreements. Your investment is in your hands and you own it. With a 70% growth in only 5 years, do you still doubt gold investment? Contact RJ Coin today, 031 202 4701, or visit them at 151 Stephen Lamini Road in Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange, your passport to gold investment.
You may be out there in the working space building your future. Perhaps you are as comfortable on the sports field as you are in the boardroom, or hard at work being the best student possible. You could be spending most of your time at home grooming the leaders of tomorrow. Either way, you need to feel confident, strong, and comfortable. Eternity Sanitary Pads, now available at a store close to you.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media. Humanitarian journalism.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Mariam Kwenda Show on Salam Media, and Mandisa is still joining me on the line. She is the first Black female fighter pilot in South Africa. So, Mandisa, thank you for joining me once again. Now, tell me, since we're all in lockdown, well, it's level 3, but yeah, since we're all in lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic, how has it affected you, and what have you learned from being in lockdown?
Well, as the South African National Defence Force, we're part of the people who are deemed as essential services. So for us, what it meant was just a little bit of a reduction in terms of the forces, but it's still, for us, ops are carrying on as per normal. You know, there's a little bit more of a cultural or societal awareness with regards to how we interact with each other. Obviously, there are more sanitizers and extra hygiene cautions that are now at work in terms of before we go into the workplace, when we go towards our aircraft, how we interact with each other. And in terms of observing social distances, the way we sit in the briefing rooms and that sort of thing. But otherwise, it's carrying on as far as we normally can. Just paying attention to being a little bit more cautious with dealing with each other. But as far as the South African National Defence Force is concerned, we're out there we're giving as much of ourselves as we possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and another thing which another pandemic that we are fighting as women in South Africa is that of femicide and gender-based violence. So what do you think about the rise in gender-based violence, and what needs to be done?
Sure. Okay, gender-based violence. I think that there isn't really a rise in gender-based violence. I think there is now more people who are speaking up about it. I think before, because we didn't have media and the way to connect with each other, people who were suffering in silence. And now that the spotlight is actually being based on, I hope more than anything, that women will feel more encouraged to speak out. One thing that I hold very close to my heart is that every single female person should be able to defend themselves in any way possible. So I'm not saying that women are perhaps women haven't been given the tools that they need in order to protect themselves and also to reach out if they are in trouble. So now with the spotlight being shown the way it is, I'm hoping that the tools are getting to the people who need it so that they can do something about it. And then more than anything is that we educate our young men in order to understand that women that are coming up in this generation are powerful women, are strong women, and that they need to be respected and seen as such. And especially in places of work where it is required for a woman to take up posts that would have been traditionally meant for men. So it is really tragic that it has taken action such as this, or for us to witness the travesties that are going on around there against women, for us to actually finally come together and say that we've had enough as women. It's not something that I commend, and I really hope that those who are perpetrators are caught, and then those who are unaware be educated so that they understand how to deal with women, and those who are in trouble to have the courage to speak up and to reach out to those who can help them. We are here as far as possible for each other, as a community, as women. We are here to listen, we're here to uplift, and we're here to train each other. Like, for instance, I really encourage that every single person, every single female person, know first and foremost how to protect themselves against a perpetrator. Self-defense is so essential, I've listened to other women speak at conferences, and they say that when they're walking in a place, they feel like they have to clutch some keys, because if they get attacked, then they know that they can use the keys as a weapon. Something like that, something small. Sharing knowledge like that could change somebody's life, So it is so essential that we educate each other and that we link arms and we uplift and encourage the strength of a woman, but also to educate our men to stop. It's really, it's saddening, but it's infuriating more than anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we are living in fear. We look for any sort of item in our bags that we can use as a weapon, whether it's as simple as a pen, perfume to spray in the perpetrator's eyes, keys, like you've mentioned, because of the fear that we are living in. And I hope that the SANDF can have like self-defense classes, free self-defense classes for women. We need to learn how to defend ourselves.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely do something about that. You can look out. There will be something out there in social media. Put something out there for them.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to play a game. It's called Quick Fire. I'm just going to ask you 5 questions, and you need to answer them as quickly as you can. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. If you were the president, who would be your deputy?
Mpakeng, Professor Mpakeng.
All
From
right.
ECT, Vice Chancellor Mpakeng.
What would your top priority be as the president?
Definitely educating the less privileged about the economics of the country, so that if they understand how wealth is generated and how it moves, then they're able to uplift themselves.
What book would you recommend?
What work? I would recommend entrepreneurship, enterprising, starting your own business, and owning the skills or the resources in order to push the country forward. The means of supply.
Okay, it's actually what book you would recommend, but it's fine. You answered
Okay.
something else. What is your favorite quote?
The sky is the baseline. I made that up and I love it.
And I thought you were going to say the sky is the limit.
No, it's the baseline. We start at the sky.
Okay, lastly, name 5 people or organizations that we should follow on social media.
Tummy Dish Foundation, Aviation Development in Africa, Black Queer Women in Business. I would recommend that you follow my friend Judy Sikuza, who is the CEO of Nelson Mandela Rhodes Foundation. And one more person. Let me think. Who do I follow?
Okay, that's
okay,
fine.
now I'll have to say, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give you 4.
No, that's actually fine because I made a mistake. I'm supposed to say 3, but I said 5, so that's fine.
Okay, cool.
All right, you've answered all of the questions from our quick fire game, so kudos to you. And lastly, what advice would you give to young Black women?
Go for that which you're passionate about. The reason I say that is because if you're passionate about something, when you get tired, when you reach challenges, that fire inside of you helps you push beyond the boundaries. Because if it's worth anything, you will face challenges, you will face naysayers, and all you have to do is just to remember why you did it. So go for that which you're passionate about, that keeps you awake at night. Go for that. All
right, so thank you so much, Mandisa, for chatting to me, and hope I wish you well in your future endeavors and hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Marian. Have a wonderful day, and thank you to all the viewers and the listeners. Happy Tuesday.
Right, bye-bye. Mandisa Mfeka, or Major Mandisa Mfeka, the first Black female fighter pilot in South Africa, having a lovely chat with me about her journey becoming the first Black female fighter pilot in South Africa. And if you want to become a fighter pilot as well, you need to apply at the SAAF, but also make sure that your marks, your mathematics and physical science marks are top notch, because they don't play there. I remember having this dream of also becoming a pilot, and yeah, my maths, let's not even go there. I'm going to stick to the creativity side of things. We're not going to talk of maths and science. But anyways, yeah, I should tell you my story of how I wanted to, or rather I applied to join the SANDF, and I went for the training. I was selected to go for the training process and stuff, but unfortunately I wasn't called back, and I don't know why. And don't you just hate it when you apply for something and they don't really tell you or let you know what has happened to your application? It just becomes a thing of the past. Like you wait and wait and wait and wait until you wait no more, and you just don't hear from them. That's not cool, right? It's absolutely not cool at all. But anyways, I applied, and it was fun for a while until I was not called, and it was no longer fun. But anyways, if you are interested, then do the right thing and apply as well. And if you have any comments, you can leave them in the comment section below, or you can send them to our WhatsApp line on 061-766-0355. It is 12:29. You are listening to the Mari Mukwanda Show on Salam Media. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.